There's a quote I love. When two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. But when two elephants make love, it's still the grass that suffers. it's funny, it's ancient, it's one of the best definitions of political savvy I've ever heard. Because here's the truth most executive leaders never say out loud. Even if you're not in the fight, you can still get crushed by it. When power struggles happen at the top, whether it's two VPs battling over resources or a CEO battling with their board, jockeying for position and control, it's rarely the leaders at that level who suffer. It's everyone else underneath them. Teams lose direction, projects stall, morale tanks, people leave, and the worst part, the fallout is often invisible until it's too late. Look, I'm going to share with you a personal story in just a moment, but for those of you who are new here, I'm Alex D. Tremble, host of the Executive Appeal and CEO of GPS Leadership Solutions, and the youngest person to ever create an executive leadership development program for a U.S. federal government cabinet level agency. I've coached senior executives across Fortune 500 companies, federal agencies, in high growth organizations. I've sat in the boardrooms where decisions were made that never hit the memos. And I've helped leaders not only survive, but thrive through this kind of political turbulence that it sends others packing. And if you want to protect yourself and your team from the storm of senior level politics, you need to clarify, you need to have clarity, strategy, and positioning. Today, I'm giving you the blueprint. So, welcome to the Executive Appeal, the podcast where elite leaders learn to lead smarter, influence better, and succeed faster. I am Alex Tremble, and I promise you this isn't theory, it's battle tested strategy from inside the rooms where real decisions are made. If you are still with us, and if you stay to the end, I've got an advanced pro strategy that most leaders never think to use, but could save you and your team's performance and your reputation. So let's get into it. Here are 4 essential steps to stay powerful and protected when elephants are fighting above you. The first, know the game, even if you're not playing it. Here's the reality. Ignorance is not innocence in leadership. You don't have to participate in office politics, but you must understand them. Map power centers, track shifting alliances, watch body language in meetings. As I wrote in my last book, Unlocking the Executive Advantage, the relationships you ignore are the ones most likely to blindside you. So this thinks about, I want to use a personal story right now. So years ago, I was again managing executive leadership development, and I was rocking it. I had nothing but high marks on my performance. All my customers were extremely happy across the federal government. We were getting bigger and bigger budgets, bringing in larger and larger speakers, and I was kind of getting the sense that my current executive that I reported to, he wanted me to leave. Kept saying, no, 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 no. I love it here. I love what we're doing. I love the mission. I'm passionate about this stuff. And he's like, Alex, you may want to leave. Look for your next opportunity. I kept pushing off, pushing off, pushing off. One day, this guy left. He found his next opportunity. And I was like, oh, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And the next day, I realized what he was telling me. See, there was a feud between him at an executive level and his executive supervisor. And they had been battling it out behind the scenes, and I had noticed it. And now that he was gone, the only way she could hurt him was to hurt someone that he cared about. Lucky me. My life became extremely, extremely difficult at that point. And it was a really difficult 2 years. And I'll get back to that in a moment. But again, this just gets you to the point like, don't make the mistake that I make. Even if you're not a part of the game, you got to make sure you're aware of the game and who's playing the game. Me, I was, in retrospect, he was giving me hints. Hey, something's going on here. But I was so focused on just doing my job. Again, doing your job is important. But if you're not paying attention to the political environment, you end up in a very bad situation, but you and your team. Okay. So the second piece is build a political defense. And sorry, I actually speak about this in my I'm not sure if it's in my book Relationships at Work or my book Reaching Senior Leadership, but this is so critical. Look, don't just focus on up. Strengthen lateral relationships, peers, program managers, operational leads. At times, a political conflict, they're often your most reliable allies for stability and information. This is echoed when I talk about the 3R relationship model in the book Unlocking the Executive Advantage. Relationships aren't just career growth, they're about protection. So when I work with executive leaders to help them during coaching situations, help them develop their political defense, um, everyone needs a slightly different political defense and cadre of relationships based on the organization and what their particular goals are within the organization where they're starting. So everyone has a different makeup of what their political defense can and should look like. However, there are some components that I believe should cross whoever right now. So I'm gonna give you those right now. Okay, super easy. First, build a relationship with HR. You need to have a best friend within HR who who knows the policies, who knows what can happen, what cannot happen. So if anything ever comes your way and you're not sure how to react to it, you have someone you can trust. You can jump on the call and say, hey, is this all right? Is this something I should be worried about? How do I navigate this with utilizing our current policies and so on and so forth? So HR, having a best friend in HR is always extremely important. Second is IT. Having a best friend in IT is a great strategical positioning unit because how many of us just run into security issues, right? You want to have the ability to pick up the phone and get to the front of the line if something is happening, if your program or something being delayed or a system is being delayed because of the fight above you, whatever it may be, you want to be able to get to the front of the line because so many things that we do nowadays are tied to IT. And if there's a systems problem or error or whatever it may be, you want to be able to jump the line to make sure you and your team are okay. Finance. Finance is critical, right? Why? Because that's the money. You always want to make sure that you have access to the resources to support your organization and your people. Here's the reality is that if you don't, just because you think you have access to dollars and resources now doesn't mean you'll have access to dollars and resources later. And many of these things are actually very subjective and relationship based. And so if you have a relationship with someone in those departments who have access to the movings of the dollars, they can give you a heads up when something's happening or not happening, or maybe they can make a move for you to say, hey, look, we've some dollars have come available in this particular program. I can help you if you want me to. We can shift those dollars to your program. You don't want to be an afterthought. You want to have a friend who's actually looking out for you to help ensure that you and your team have the greatest chance of receiving those resources as possible. The next one is security. I can hold that for a second. I want to share y'all a story about security in a moment. But second is a rising star, right? Rising star. Identify who is that person or those persons within your organization who are just pole voting, who are just shooting up in the organization because one, they're doing something right. So you want to be aligned. One, your what you're doing, your behaviors around them. Two, because obviously they're doing something right. But two, if they're a rising star, that means they're respected. And if you're attached to and aligned with someone who's respected within the organization, again, people are much less likely to go after you. This new one that's not in the book, but I added recently is called the bull. Whenever possible, have a relationship with a bull, someone within your organization that no one messes with. That if something happens to you and or your team and you can't solve it yourself, you can go to that person and say, "Hey, look, I need your help," and they'll step in and they'll move stuff for you. Right? Whenever possible, you want to have a relationship with bull. So I mentioned earlier that I wanted to share with you a story about security. So I've always myself been very intentional with establishing relationships with building security and so on and so forth. Because again, you just never know when you're going to need when you need to get into the office or something like that. And you don't have something with you, and they may let you in. Like it just always benefited me having a relationship with security guards and so on and so forth. So there was this time in my career in that situation when the person was coming after me, where I was at my desk. This is normally I was working. All of a sudden, I get a knock at the door. Okay, hey, what's up? What's going on? Come in. I come in, they go, hey, how you doing? What's going on? It's like we start laughing and joking. They say, hey, by the way, do you know who Alex is? Because I had known them for years and they know me for years, and we always laughed and joked, but we never actually remembered each other's names. And I said, oh, I'm Alex. And immediately their faces got serious. I said, Alex, we need your laptop. My laptop? What's going on? Now there was two security guards, armed security guards, and an IT security guy who walked in. Oh, okay. I'm freaking out now. Sure. I take my laptop, I unplug everything, I give it to him. I said, can I ask what's going on here? They said, sorry, we can't let you know. We can't tell you anything. I'm freaking out. So terrified. I don't think I've done anything wrong, but the fact people are coming in my office, armed security guards, IT security, I know what happens when these people come in because I know these people, I know what they do. And so I immediately jump on the phone, calling all of my political people, my people who have influence and information. I'm telling, hey, I don't know what's happening. This just happened to me. Can you please help me out? I'm freaking out. One person I talked to says, Alex, calm down. I'll look into this. Hang up the phone. About 30 minutes later, I received a call back. Alex, so that person who's been coming after you, they reported you. They said that you have been operating your own business on this government laptop. And they're hoping that you have, that could be their way of getting rid of you because there's obviously nothing else they can say to get rid of you because everyone likes you. You've done a really great job. They're hoping this is their way to get you out of here. Oh my God. Thank you. So I calmed down a little bit, but I'm still worried. I don't know what's about to happen. I'm pretty sure I've never done anything that's inappropriate on my work laptop. But the fact that this happened to me was crazy. And it took about a week until I got the laptop back. And they said, oh, okay, well, we found nothing on your laptop inappropriate. Go on and go back to work and whatnot. And I can't tell you how much I appreciated the person who was able to look into that information, look into that situation for me and say, hey, Alex, calm down. This is what's happening. Because I knew that was what's happening, why that happened to me, because security guards never let me know what was going on. My supervisor at that time never told me why this happened to me. Only reason I know is because I had the right connection to the right person who had information, part of my political defense. And so again, I encourage you all to do the same thing. Build these relationships, HR, IT, security, finance, a rising star, and a bull, right? If you can build those preemptively, when something happens, you'll have the right people you can call on to protect you when there's a dance going up, an elephant dance going on above you. Okay, let's shift to the third one. Protect the energy of your team. When senior conflict causes confusion, your people will feel it, even if you say nothing. They're worried about their jobs, their projects, their future. In these situations, over communicate clarity. Anchor them on purpose. Rebuild psychological safety every single week. You cannot take this for granted. Remember, proactivity dies in uncertainty. And uncertainty is the byproduct of power vacuums. This is where the work that GPS leadership does with our customers comes into play. We help them focus on what we call the core TP3. That is trust, productivity, proactivity, and ultimately, what's the third one? Profitability. When you've done the TP3, again, trust, proactivity, productivity, you ultimately receive profitability. That is the core. And this is what you have to spend time doing. I literally ran into an organization the other day who we started having conversation with. Hey, look, Alex, actually right now our we're in a really good place. Like we feel really good. My team is pretty strong. And I said, yeah. So what are you going to do to keep it strong? Right? Again, everything in nature is either growing, strengthening, or decaying and dying. So just because you're in a good place now, that does not mean you should not be reinvesting in your team right now. Because if you wait until something's wrong, I promise you, it's going to be way worse because you don't notice things are wrong until after they've already gone down a bit, right? And then finally, be strategically quiet, not passive. In the words of Roy Sutherland, sometimes doing nothing is the most intelligent course of action, but it must be deliberately nothing. Don't take sides. Don't speculate out loud. Don't, position yourself as a stabilizing force, not a gossiper or an opportunist, right? I want you to imagine this situation: a high level leader at a Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 company. She's brilliant, but she's blindsided when two SVPs began a quiet turf war. She wasn't involved, but her project has got defunded as collateral damage. What do you think she should do? Seriously. I want to hear your thoughts. I'm going to share mine, but I want to hear your thoughts. Tell me in the comment. What do you think she should do? After after one session with me, I promise you these are the things that we'd lay out for her. One, strengthen her relationships with the finance lead. I talked about that already, that political defense. Having someone in the space with the money. Make sure that you know exactly how to unlock the resources whenever either they can do it for you or you can find a way just to get other people to say yes and you can quickly move on it, right? Establish the relationship with the finance lead. Resurface the ROI of her project in weekly data. Make sure people understand, especially those two people who are in conflict, understand the impact that you and your team are doing. And if you do this strategically and very carefully, you can inform them about what your organization has been doing to impact the mission, the vision of the organization, how it's been winning. And you can also show how slowly they're starting to get impacted and how that positive impact having an organization is slowly being deteriorated due to the fight that's happening above. Third, quietly ensure both SVPs see her as non-threatening and competent. It's so funny. I talk about this in my book, Relationships at Work. I'm a confidant for many. There are many executive leaders who come to me and talk and share their thoughts and perspectives and so on and so forth, whether they need advice or coaching or they just need someone to bounce ideas off of. And it's so funny because some people ask me, how do you have relationships with this person who shares information with you, but also this person who shares information with you, but they hate each other? How do you do that? Like, don't they want to hear what the other person's? Sometimes they want to. But here's the thing. If I were to ever tell one person what the other person told me, they would immediately say, okay, I guess I can't trust Alex with my information because he just told me what the other person said. Isn't that weird? And so the best way in that situation is to be respectful to both and or all sides. Show that you are competent, but never engage in that person's bad person. Da, da, da. It's again, and if you do, it can be very, very strategic. Because again, when you take a side, you're taking a side. And once you say something, there is no guarantee that it's not going to make it back to the other person. And so whatever you say to one person, just know it may get back to the other person. So be very, very careful with what you say. So I had someone in that situation, and after doing and implementing these ideas, their project was reinstated within like 45 days. While others were still trying to figure out what happened. Again, this is about being aware of the political environment, understanding the why behind what's happening, right? I want to start ending with a quote. Power is not a thing to be held. It's a dynamic to be navigated. I talk about that in my book, Unlocking the Executive Advantage. And because you've made it so long with us today, here's the bonus pro strategy I said I share with you. And here's what most leaders forget to do. Run a start, stop, continue assessment with your team. Ask, what should we start doing to stay aligned with our purpose? What should we stop doing to free up energy and focus? And what should we continue doing to maintain momentum? If you don't name your priorities, your organization's politics will name them for you. So if you found any value in today's talk, today's episode, please share with someone else navigating politics right now. And remember, I encourage you always stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Executive Appeal with Alex Tremble. I invite you to follow The Executive Appeal wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow me, your host, Alex Tremble, across all socials or via email for exclusive webinars, courses, and in speaking engagements on continued topics of executive leadership. So until next time, stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving.